2020 has been a very interesting year. I mean, we all went through a very tough times, particularly the pandemic when it hit, and then subsequently as things started reviving and so on. So, my observation about, the overall business has been that customers are seeing a lot of promise as they move forward, and particularly India. So we are seeing a very sharp recovery in customer sentiments and the way customer is looking at, deploying technology to kind of, up their game as far as business growth is concerned. And I think we are very well aligned over there. So Veeam continues to be the leader in the cloud data management space. So we are the leading backup software player that helps in delivering cloud data management. And we are absolutely clear that we want to solve customer challenges when it comes to protecting their environment in the environment today, which is all about cloud. So worldwide we have already crossed 400,000 customers. Okay, which is a huge number of customers. 83% of Fortune 500 companies have deployed Veeam, are taking advantage of Veeam capabilities around cloud data management and backup. 69% of global 2000 customers are using Veeam. And if we look at APJ as a region, it has been one of the fastest growing theaters for Veeam worldwide. In fact, we've been growing much faster than the market. APJ posted like 10x the growth of the market in 2019 second half as per the IDC software tracker for backup and recovery market. In the first half of 2020, okay, we grew at a very strong rate of 6.6%, over the previous year, which is again, considering the impact of the pandemic. I think, the solutions that we offer to our customers are in line with what the customer is expecting, particularly around data protection, recovery, protection against the ransomware, orchestration of workloads, compliance and reporting, monitoring and analytics, and so on. So in India, we've been adding hundreds of customers every year. So we've seen a big growth in terms of the adoption of Veeam across all the verticals in India as well. So and that's largely because of the partner ecosystem that we have, or we've nurtured. So that we are 100% channel-oriented company. So we don't compete with the channel. Our channel actually takes our solutions to the customers. It goes about the implementation and support and so on. And then we have a global ecosystem of reseller partners, strong partners like Cisco, NetApp, Lenovo, and HPE, who carry Veeam in their price book. So they are our global reseller partners. We've got unprecedented coverage in the market, and we are able to reach out to a much larger customer base through our channel ecosystem.
Okay.
Coming to second part of your question, which was around what is it that we have introduced in 2021. So, sticking to what we do very well, which is around backup and data protection, and particularly as we see adoption of hybrid cloud really accelerating, all over the world, including India. What we could sense is that customers are expecting us to protect, the new age workloads. So to give you an example, many customers came back to us saying that, Veeam, you've been protecting O365. So we have a solution called VBO, which is Veeam Backup for Microsoft Office 365. They said, can you help us protect Teams? Because, Microsoft has seen a huge jump in the adoption of Teams over the last, 12 months from, millions of users, across the world. And obviously, when business get conducted over a team, you need to protect that information. So it is not only the need of the business, it's also driven from the compliance standpoint that, all this information needs to be protected. And we have launched Veeam VBO version 5, which helps protect and recover, Teams data, Microsoft Teams. So we are securing this workload We had customers saying that, you've been protecting workloads on AWS, can you help us in protecting IDS on AWS? So we launched Veeam Backup for AWS version 3. So Veeam, continues to expand its, horizontally its abilities to protect environments for its customers, so that they can rely on one single platform to protect not only the workloads in the physical environment but cloud, as well as the hybrid cloud and workloads on Kubernetes.
Okay.
So yeah, a very rapid expansion horizontally of our portfolio is what we're trying to achieve in this year as well. Yeah, absolutely. So, you're bang on when you said that, organizations have been experiencing accelerated growth of, cloud adoption, and that's across the board. It is not just the enterprise, but I would say, even the commercial accounts, or what we call as the small and medium business units, have been having an IT strategy that has cloud element as part of it. So so 2-3 things which are like, which have been very deciding in terms of the course of IT, when it comes to backup and data protection. Firstly, I would say that customers started looking at protecting not only their physical and virtual workloads, but looking at a one single window or backup solution from where they could protect their cloud workloads as well. So cloud first has been the strategy for most customers, and they have been looking at a modern solution that can help protect all of these workloads from one pane of glass. You pointed out that customers are expecting their employees to work not only from home but from anywhere. So obviously there are some inherent risks to the data because of working from anywhere, and we've observed customers asking us that how can you protect data on endpoints? Can you help us in protection of data on cloud for us? So Veeam has been offering solutions along with the cloud service provider partners to protect not only the endpoint data on-prem but even push it on the cloud. So now you look at, you take your laptop anywhere. If let's say you suffer a ransomware attack, we will provide you the ability to recover all of that. You lose the laptop or the notebook, we can help you recover that information. And that is just one part of the requirement that we are helping our customers with. So if customers are looking at a multi-cloud strategy wherein they would need to move workloads from cloud A to cloud B, or bring these workloads back home, to improve on the agility of their business, Veeam is able to support its customers. And it's not just that we can move workloads from one hyperscaler to another to another or on-prem. We're saying that customers can look at their very own in-country cloud service providers, and they may look at a multi-cloud strategy around that, and Veeam can be a partner there. While doing all of this, Rajneesh, we have observed that customers are also keeping an eye on the cost. Okay, so traditionally, customers have built backup repositories and with lots of tapes and hard disks and appliances and so on. So what's happening is, you have this huge amount of data lying in your data center in different forms, which is actually unusable. It is a non-performing asset. For a bank, and when we say data is the most important asset, think about it. Bank look at all of this unusable data as a non-performing assets, and it's true for any business. You can't have tons and tons of non-performing assets. I would say petabytes or GBs of data just lying around. So Veeam has a very disruptive approach on how it can help customers reuse the backup data.
Okay.
So we have been helping our customers to build a hardware agnostic, a vendor agnostic, software defined availability platform that allows the customer to reuse the backup data to drive maybe leverage more value for business to do analytics or data mining and to help in test and development and so on. So your backup data is no longer a non-performing assets. You are leveraging that information for your business, help in compliance and reporting and so on. So, what we are helping our customers is drive more value from business, from all of this, backup data. So it's a very transformative, disruptive approach. And I think customers are seriously considering to move away from an appliance-based strategy because it doesn't help them scale and be agile to meet the requirements of the business. We emerged as a leader for backup in the VMware environment. Over the past decade, we extended our support to Hyper-V, Nutanix AHV. So, we cover a huge portion of the virtual market in terms of protecting workloads there. We expanded the breadth of our solution to protect physical environments. Okay, different databases and operating systems, Unixes, Windows, of course, Oracle, SQL, and so on. But coming to the point of hybrid cloud, we see that the next decade is going to be all about hybrid cloud and multi-cloud. Customers fear actually locking into one particular cloud. It could be a hyperscale solution, could be any of the big three that are there. So what customers are looking at is it possible to really move workload from, let's say, on-prem to an AWS cloud? Is it possible to, let's say, recover, a backup from AWS cloud to Azure? Okay, is it possible to then, possibly come back to on-prem? And, Veeam has been at the forefront of helping customers achieve just that. So the Veeam availability platform and V11 gives our customers the ability to move workloads in a hybrid cloud environment and a multi-cloud environment. Many cloud service providers, in fact, are using Veeam for migration. So, we have customers who are saying that, okay, let's kind of, move. You have 100 applications, you look at maybe 10 to 15 applications to move to, let's say, AWS. And we've been helping customers do that. So customers want to move from on-prem to Azure. We can help customers do that. For a very large smart city project in India, we are helping customers recover from cloud on-prem, and we've been able to, kind of deliver on SLAs that are just about a few minutes. So for customers in financial services, where we are helping to recover from a DR site to on-prem in just about a few minutes. So the agenda for Veeam has been to give customers the flexibility to operate and conduct their business in a multi-cloud environment. Okay, and deliver availability, across this cloud. And I think it's by no accident that we are the leaders in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for 4 years in a row. 16, 17, 19, and 20. So I'm saying that the way customers are. Yeah, so that's very interesting. Well, we used to listen to finite availability, and today customers talk about 100% availability. There's nothing like always on is what customers are require from us. That's what the business is expecting today from IT. Always on. So there is no scope for even the business to go down for a few minutes or seconds. So if you look at across industries, I think the SLAs are getting redrawn, particularly because businesses are expected to work in a multi-cloud or a hybrid cloud world. Okay, when you have workloads that could be running on, let's say, AWS. Okay, how do you make sure that if a virtual machine goes down on AWS, how quickly can you recover or kind of switch over to another virtual machine on AWS? So And then we also look at the customer behavior where, I mean, customers today, moment the services are not available of a particular vendor, they are quick to switch over to another vendor, right? Yeah. So which means that, businesses have to be extremely agile in that case. Okay. So as far as availability is concerned on the recovery time front, we've been able to help our customers recover a virtual machine in just about a few minutes. Okay, that's the SLA that we are kind of helping our customers, which was unheard from the backup standpoint. So backup and replication software were not really used as a first resort to recovering, within few minutes. It was largely used earlier for protecting of data. Okay, not for uptime, but Veeam has changed that completely for its customers, and we help customers recover just a few minutes, whether it is a machine on-prem or it's a virtual machine or an instant, fired up in the cloud somewhere. That are the kinds of SLAs we are helping the customer with. When it comes to data loss or RTO, how much is the data that customers can afford to lose? And if you ask that to any customer, they're going to say no data loss. Obviously, yeah. So customers are looking at capabilities like continuous data protection, where you kind of deliver on RPO that is just about a few seconds for their business. Your customers are expecting that in a cloud world, when there could be a risk of ransomware attack, you still need your data to be absolutely 100% available. So Veeam is helping its customers to protect or make their data absolutely ransomware proof. Okay, so what we help them is, push the backup data to an S3 compliant object storage, or just with a click of button, you can actually make your backup data 100% ransomware proof, even if you have to put it on, any commodity storage for that matter. So these are the capabilities we are helping our customers with to kind of have 100% uptime or be always on in their business, and to move towards zero data loss. So it is becoming increasingly challenging for customers to meet the compliance requirements today, because you have to operate in a hybrid and a multi-cloud. Okay, and when you're doing that, there's no relaxation on the compliance. If you are in the banking and financial services business, then you better be compliant with the norms of RBI. If you are doing a business outside of the country into EMEA and in US, then you have to comply with the GDPR. Right? If you are into the healthcare and pharmaceutical doing business with the US, then you have to comply with US FDA. And there are so many other compliance and regulatory requirements for every other business. And if not for any one of these, then you still need to comply with the requirements of your internal auditors. You can't help it. So no business or no IT can say that no, we cannot be compliant. Okay, it has to ensure that it is helping its business comply on ensuring that the data is always available and the business is always up and running. Okay, so to give you a simple example, let's look at Microsoft Teams. Okay, we spoke about it at the beginning of this session. I mean, we are expected to run our business or do our meetings on Microsoft Teams, and there are some key decision makings or conversations that are required from the compliance standpoint, not for you and me, but maybe for the financial institutions. This is a requirement of the internal auditor. They are saying, banks, if you are using Teams, we want the Teams data to be backed up and recoverable as and when it is required.
Okay.
Okay, so well, Veeam comes in there, it helps customers protect data there. Then if for example business is looking at let's say a retail chain, for example, it will see a burst in its business generally towards the end of the month or beginning of the month, where people get their salaries and they want to spend it buying. So you will see that spike, and then there could be a need that you burst those month-end workloads onto a cloud. Okay, now the business could ask IT that, can you tell us if you are using cloud, how quickly, when your IT is down, or your, let's say, your machine, how quickly can you recover? Tell us your data protection SLAs and how they are met in a cloud environment. And so what Veeam can help customers with is, provide with an interface, which kind of explains how the current SLAs stack up vis-a-vis the backup in its environment, and how does it measure? Is there a gap? And then customers can proactively look at taking decisions to kind of either add virtual machines into their environment so that they are compliant, and the business runs uninterruptedly. They can look at moving the backup data so that it's absolutely unmutable. It's immutable from ransomware. Okay, 100% ransomware proof. I mean, regulators are seeking that kind of response from the business, if how protected they think their data is from ransomware. So if you have a solution like Veeam deployed, you could respond back to the auditors or the regulator saying that yes, we are absolutely compliant because the backup data is 100% ransomware proof. It could be on the cloud or on a storage which is S3 compliant object storage, and safeguarded against any ransomware attack. So our customer base, Rajneesh, cuts across the spectrum, from the largest of the financial institutions to big media and entertainment companies, some of the largest healthcare companies, manufacturing organizations. We have a very solid presence in the public sector and as well as the government space. Because wherever you see virtualization, customers by default look at Veeam to protect their environment. So we see their presence across the board. But I do think that in 2021 and beyond, there could be a huge surge in the adoption of technology by the banking and financial services. We're seeing so many transactions being done like online, and banks have to cater to all of these. They are embarking on several new initiatives, could be looking at enhancing the customer experience, ensuring that the revenue is growing, reducing on the impact of risk coming in from ransomware or other malicious attacks that could be happening, taking on initiatives in the analytics and and the BI space. We've seen like banks heavily investing on AI and ML, and to look at how they could improve on their books and the financial health of their institutions, look at better quality loan that they could really disburse to their customers. So I see that BFSI is going to be in the forefront of technology adoption in the years ahead. There's a massive shift happening there. Even I would say structurally, as the public sector banks tend to merge, and then we could be left with 4 to 5 large public sector banks and not the 15 to 20 that we have today. The large private banks are also very aggressive in terms of tech adoption. So banking, insurance companies for that matter, we are expecting one of the largest IPOs in the Indian history if LIC comes out with an IPO very soon. So these are some of the market making events that I would say would trigger the growth or adoption of technology, and particularly in the FSI. The second big vertical I think that will kind of spend on IT is going to be the government. Whether it is for their socialist schemes, or from the security standpoint, or from the digital India movement standpoint, or smart cities and so on. There are a large number of initiatives across the board where government is expected to spend. And then of course the manufacturing. Now within manufacturing you could have right from healthcare to motor, someone who makes two-wheelers and cars and so on and so forth. So these are the verticals that we believe that at different points in time will spend heavily and invest heavily in IT. And we will continue to work along with our partners to kind of reach out to these customers pan India and SAARC as we're doing it globally. So we are a horizontal solution. So from the smallest of the SMB or medium size or a small business to the largest of enterprises can really take benefits of Veeam availability platforms. Hero Motocorp, for example, is a very large customer of ours, deploying Veeam for data protection and recovery. We have customers in the government space, but obviously government, you can't really talk about them. Customers in the manufacturing as well as in healthcare. So customers across the board. Right from BFSI to government to manufacturing is what I would say. We are in a specific domain of providing backup solution for cloud data management. So, when we talk about data protection, and if we look at, let's say, the manufacturing space, we are helping customers to predict which are the instances that could actually go down because of heavy workloads, and all of that AI ML is built into the software, and we are actually kind of investing more so that the platform can intelligently update and alert the customers on where could be the risk of downtime. Okay, our software can give an impending alert of a ransomware attack. Okay, so there are triggers and there is intelligence built in which can say that there is an impending ransomware attack. So please go check all the data, try to recover it on a different machine and see if everything is all right. So this is the intelligence that we are building in the system. It provides a lot of health check reports, more than 200 reports, which the customers can use, for capacity planning, if you will, because it can alert the customer that, well, looking at your workloads, you may require to add more virtual machine in your environment because the workload is going to spike, so that there is no downtime that the business experiences. Okay, so and we are kind of investing continuously on that. We've taken the platform to the next level where we are supporting our customers on protecting Kubernetes environment.
Okay.
So, we believe that we can help customers in their data protection and cloud journey, not only for today but even for future. Yeah, so we have been quite creative in the way we reach out to the SMB customers, Rajneesh. So we've observed that there are pockets in this region which are very kind of SMB heavy. So, for example, if you look at the Gujarat market, okay, it will have manufacturing and healthcare and good bunch of government and government business. So, if you look at Surat, there are so many diamond merchants out there. So business may not be all that good, but then at some point in time, the business could recover and they could start spending. So, we established our presence either directly or through a distributor or partner in these regions across the country, okay, which are very SMB kind of heavy. If you look at the metros, we anyway have our presence, in Delhi, Mumbai and Bangalore, and we are able to address the larger customer base of commercial as well as the enterprise customers. But then, we work with some value-added, we could call them value-added large resellers in markets of Tamil Nadu and Kerala, who could actually reach out to their partner ecosystem, and then these partners again could reach out to a larger customer base. So that's how we kind of address the SMB space. We had certain partner perks and incentives for partner sales guys for net new customer acquisitions in certain deal, with certain deal bands, I would say. So SMB generally tend to consume between like $1K to $10,000. I mean, if that's the deal band that customers, anyone wants to look at, then we kind of help the customers in in the SMB space kind of work along with our partners and incentivize the partners to kind of do that business for us. Well, I think the importance of data protection, availability, recoverability, compliance, and cloud is not going to recede in any way. In fact, we could see an acceleration of cloud, over the years to come, and we would want to be, on the forefront of these conversations with the customers where we can help them accelerate their journey without really worrying about the protection of their data. I mean, that's how I'd like to put it. So we want to be their chosen platform for data protection and backup that can deliver on cloud data management, whether the workload is in the physical space or the workload is in a virtual environment, or if they want to go on the cloud. Okay, so we would want to kind of continue doing what we are doing well, and remain kind of focused on helping the customers, because this is what the customers are actually looking at. Security is one aspect, data protection is one, hybrid cloud acceleration. We've been following the trends, and I think that we are at the right in the right place, when it comes to helping our customers in their cloud journey. So we'll continue doing that. Keep our focus on verticals that I spoke about: BFSI, government, manufacturing. Look at expanding our partner ecosystem. Work very closely with our alliance resellers like Cisco, NetApp, HP, Lenovo, to take our solutions to the marketplace. Work closely with AWS, Microsoft, Nutanix, Pure. These are our alliance partners. We have a very broad alliance partner ecosystem. So work very closely with them, because I'm sure that every environment will see a need for protection of data and on ensuring that the workloads are up and running all the time. Yeah, so beginning of 2020, Rajneesh, Insight Partners acquired 100% of Veeam equity, and if you look at how fast we have expanded on the portfolio over the last last few quarters, I think it's been a huge accelerated investment and growth in terms of our offerings. This year we have announced, like I said, VBO version 5, which is protecting teams data, enhancing our capabilities around protecting O365. Then we released Veeam Backup for AWS version 3, which is also helping the AWS customers protect RDS and other data on the AWS workloads, and kind of take data protection to a completely different level as far as AWS environment is concerned. So we will have such interesting announcements in this year. There's still like 11 long months in front of us, almost the entire year, and I'm very excited about the possibilities and the vision that Veeam has in terms of its growth, as well as expanding the portfolio is concerned. So you will see a lot of interesting announcements from Veeam as we move forward. The most important, I would say, priority for the customers today is going to be increasing revenues, keeping the risks, operational risk, at bay, reducing the risk in their business, ensuring that their costs are in control. And I think every dimension of their IT and business has to kind of has to be looked at from these three standpoints. So it is important that when customers look at the next decade of growth for them, they take into account what could be very strategic for them, because the foundations for their business are going to be laid today as far as IT, data protection, recovery, and availability is concerned. Whatever legacy that customers carried from the previous decade to now is not going to help them in the next decade. And this is a time when you really look forward to the next decade and build your availability strategy, because the requirements of business the market and your customer is going to change. So I think there is a bit of unlearning that needs to happen. Some courageous decisions need to happen, even if you got to throw some of the hardware out of the door uh, for many of the customers who could have invested and see some book value still in their books. But it's time to make some of those bold decisions. And for the partners, I think it is important for the partners to understand the way customers are looking at consuming technology. Okay, kind of learn more around how cloud can help businesses be more agile. How cloud can help business on cutting down the cost, help in customer experience, and then also be aware on what are the potential risks of moving business in or running business in a multi-cloud, in a hybrid cloud world. So help customers kind of mitigate those risks. And it's going to be a whole lot of learning and unlearning of some of the old things that the partners could have been kind of doing, or the legacy they're carrying with them. So I would say kind of be close to the customers and help the customers meet the challenges of the current times.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.